Turns out I had a lot of broken things in the game, all relating to power-ups, and so over this past month, I have fixed all of them, and I've added some more power-ups. We're back in the hub where we belong, and one thing you'll notice right away if you look at your deck manager is, well, the font is bigger right now. Makes it a little bit easier to see. That's still being worked on because you can see this one's for some reason smaller despite having more room here, like these. We now have this icon next to some percentages and some values. It just says, hey, this number stacks. So if you got multiple of this card of different tiers, it would stack the value. If it doesn't have the icon, then it doesn't stack. It just takes whatever is the highest. But I figured if it doesn't have an icon, like the ones here, then it's implied that it does not stack, and this means it does stack. I still have the unstackable tag if the entire card entirely does not stack with anything, so visually you can tell more information. And the reason why I did this, despite seeing all of them have like a stacking or a not stacking, is because in here, if we look at some of these power-ups, not everything has everything absolutely stack. For example, Soul Siphon, the first two values stack, so they could combine, but the last one, it just takes the highest value, because this maximum percentage increased damage goes up as the tiers, but it'll never add up to be 125%. So that's why I want to specifically set up a method of showing the player, hey, these stack, these do not. You'll also notice a lot of changes to just stats and values. For example, the damage boost now says 10, 20, 30. It used to be 5, 10, 15, if I believe. The cards are now more impactful. They do considerably more to hopefully help the cards feel a bit more interesting. So it's not just a very minor change. And if we scroll all the way down, we'll see some new power-ups. So if I recall, Radial Burst was the last one we introduced. So now we have Bullseye, which increases damage for every consecutive hit, resets on a miss. If you're doing melee, it's going to be quite simple to actually continue to stack it up. If you're ranged, it might be a little harder, but still doable. And if you're ranged and have multi-hit, if any one of those misses, it will reset. But the way it's currently configured, the first hit you do will count first and then the damage will count. Now that's important because that means no matter what, you're always going to get some damage improvement just straight up, basically. It will never count as 0% increased damage. It will always be the minimum. So for example, if you got this 5% increased damage for every consecutive hit, that means you effectively got a 5% damage increase at the bare minimum, because the first hit is going to give you the 5%. I don't know if I want to specifically keep it that way, but at the current moment that is the case, and I don't see a problem with it because it is effectively just another damage increase card. And if we go into the game, I can show you the cards in action. So I'll go ahead and grab myself Bullseye, and then we can go along and find some enemies. And if I hit Sun, you can see in the top left, I have 5 stacks here of Bullseye, 10 stacks, 15 stacks, 20 stacks. Now you'll notice that I hit both of them there, but it did not increase it by 10. It's not per enemy hit. It's just if your attack hits or does not hit. So now I have 25 stacks. If I go ahead and attack now and I hit nothing, it goes back down to 0 stacks. You know immediately, no matter which tier you get, how much additional damage you have. So the stacks, 1% per, very simple. The next power up, Spectal Clone. Dashing spawns a decoy with a certain percentage of the player's max health and explodes after a certain amount of time, dealing damage. Now this is really cool. If I just dash out of the way, it leaves behind a dummy. All it is a copy of you with a little bit of health, so it can take some damage, but it will effectively take aggro. The way it's set up under the hood, basically, is if an enemy is about to take an action, whatever it is, it will check which one is closest to it. So if you are further away than this dummy is from that enemy, it will instead go to the dummy and try to attack it. Let me go find some enemies to show you. Okay, so if I now put this guy in, you can see they're now attacking him. They're not attacking me because he is closer. And after a moment, he explodes, or they kill him like they did there, and so the explosion does not happen. Also, if I go ahead and dash and then dash again, I destroy the original and spawn a new one where my dash is. So I can never have more than one. So you kind of have to think about, do you want to dash and make a new one to get away with, or do you want to dash to spawn one? So there you go. So now they're attacking this one, and if they do not kill him, then they'll go ahead and actually explodes. See, made it. So it exploded, did a little bit of damage. And by the way, the dummy takes your power-ups. If you have power-ups that reduce your damage taken or increase your damage taken. Like if you were to get glass cannon, it will also have the same power-ups. Which means if you build yourself really tanky with lots of armor upgrades and then spawn the dummy will also have lots of upgrades. Same thing with your health. The damage stacks, but the explodes after, and the percentage of your player's health does not stack. So that's the Spectral Clone. And the final new one, entirely new one here, is Divine Protection. You get a certain amount of shields, 2, 3, 5, and they stack. And every shield blocks one regular enemy attack and regenerates at the start of every level. So what this means is, if I go ahead and grab this one for 5, you'll see I now have 5 here where my health is. And if he attacks me, instead of taking damage, I removed one of the shields. And so basically, every basic enemy that attacks, every hit removes one of the shields instead of taking damage. But bosses, if we got to the boss, it would actually go ahead and take 2 of these. Once I remove all of these, I'll start taking full damage again. And from these basic enemies, the amount of damage I take doesn't matter. There it is. I took damage now because I'm out of stacks. And the stacks will come back when I reach the next level. And when I say the next level, I don't mean the boss. Because in terms of Unreal, right, that is a separate level in my case. But I actually mean like the next floor. Once you've beaten the boss, you will automatically get 5 stacks now of shields going into the next floor. You could start out having far more protection and effectively more life, making some progress. Other than that, I have removed some power-ups, namely, for example, Booming Arrival. There's only one for Booming Arrival, which is an explosion at the end of the dash. I used to have one at the beginning of the dash, but I just didn't feel like that was a good option because that would mean it kind of separates it out as 2 abilities. I just didn't like that. So we just have the end version. We have reduced stamina costs for stamina-based effects like the dashing, as we've seen before. So there's a lot of value changes here to kind of balance things out a little bit better. That doesn't mean it's good, but it's definitely better. Also, if we come here in the hub to the boss card shop, you will see the new cards here, of course, that you can buy and purchase. Again, this is temporary. We're working right now on a 4th boss. The placements of these per boss will change, and eventually they will all have 12 cards per boss. And also, I believe on the spider boss, because I've heard some feedback of the spider's slowdown being a little bit too strong, is now not as powerful, so you can more easily get out of the way. I do want a more of a warning for that projectile, and I'll introduce that in later, but for now it should be a little bit easier. That's kind of the majority of the changes over the last month. I worked a lot on getting all the power-ups working properly because I didn't realize how many have actually been broken. So if you want to try this game out for yourself in its very early stage and help support my development of this game, you can go ahead and grab it on Patreon, where you can join these wonderful people here supporting what I do. It really means a lot. And if you'd like to join our community, the link to which is in the description as always. And if you're looking for more awesome videos to watch, check out this one right over here.